Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing out there today? It's a very hot summer here on the east coast of the good old USA. Early start this week. Yes, indeed. I'm going to film the penny farthing races in Frederick, Maryland this morning. High wheelers race. I do that every year. I go up there and I film it. And I put together a highlights reel. It's those old-fashioned kind of bikes with the very high wheels and a very small wheel in the back. And they have a race up there every year in Frederick. I think it's like the biggest one in the world. The people come from all over Sweden and England and other places to race in there. So I got it. That starts at 12. I want to get up there about 11. And film it. It's a great event. I really like it. The weather's good. It's a little bit overcast, so it's not really too hot. But I do have an umbrella set up on my tripod this time because I know the sun comes from this side up there, so we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Matter of fact, let me pull this up. Facebook. Let me do this. I'll show you a little bit of it. Let me see here. Here we go. So this is let me show you a little bit from last year. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Sean Beckner. My fellow woodworker. I've been doing more mechanical stuff these days, working on tractors, and I got a new an inverter generator that I just got in from Home Depot, and boy, there's been a fiasco with that, let me tell you. Definitely a fiasco with going on there. Let me see what I have here. Movies. Here we go. So this is one that I did from 2013.
Go for 15 minutes, and whoever has the most times around is the winner.
Right. What's your name?
My name's Eric.
I'm recording for YouTube Live and Facebook Live.
Oh, very great.
Why don't you come on camera and talk about the race a little bit? Your name is Eric, you said?
My name's Eric, yep.
Tell me what's going on here today.
So I'm just a volunteer today. I'm in charge of the corner. We're doing the high wheel race. It was the only one in the country for years. We took a little hiatus during COVID. Came back last year stronger than ever, and this year obviously we're on Facebook
and YouTube Live.
We get bigger and better every year. There'll be three races today, 2 heats. Winner of those heats will go to the final race.
I think there are a couple stores around here. All right. That one doesn't.
I'll just skip through this a little bit. What did that do that for?
That guy does it. That's number 19's close.
Where'd you go, 9?
Where's number 9?
Now, last year she had the best costume, and she's doing it again with an amazing outfit. She's an elementary school PE teacher. Joining us today.
Okay. Number 19.
Good, 9 looks good. Top 10, easy.
So that is what I'm doing at 12 noon today. I'll be filming that for the 4th year in a row, something like that. Here we go. Alexander. Hi, Final Cut Pro community from the Dominican Republic. Thank you for tuning in, Alexander. Spread the word down there in the Dominican Republic. We're here every Saturday. Sean says he has to fix his car today. Yeah, cars. I used to work on cars when I was a teenager and I was young. I had a 65 Mustang and a 71 Camaro, and I used to work on those. But nowadays, everything's electronic and computers, and everything's all bunched in, and the wires are all bundled. And I changed my oil on my RAV4. That's about it. Use full synthetic. But I've been doing. I put up a video just. I did 2 videos. I put wheels on my weed whacker. And then that's got like 750 views already. And then I just put up one where I unboxed this new generator that I got. It's an inverter generator. The total harmonic distortion on this model is less than 3%, where normally it's 10 to 20%. So this is much better for electronics. I bought it at Home Depot. Wonder about the origin of those bikes. I think from the early 1900s they did those, I think. And they don't have brakes. I think I've seen a couple with handbrakes, but normally there's no brakes. Normally you just got to brake by slowing down the big wheel in the front with the pedals. There's no gears. It's just one. The ratio is the pedal to the big wheel. The wheel in the back is just the balance, and they're a little dangerous, but I love this race. Every year I go to it. It lasts for a few hours, starts at 12 noon. I'll get up there at 11, get my normal spot that I get, set up my tripod, and I have 2 cameras that I'm filming with. Three cameras, actually. I have my iPhone 16 Pro Max I film with 2 cameras. Front and back camera, one on me, one on the people in front. And then I have my DJI Action 5 Pro filming just the normal 4K wide shot on top. So the iPhone camera, my 16 Pro Max, I'll just be filming 1X or 2X. I won't be filming 5X. Or I'm sorry, I'll be filming like 1 or 2 probably. And then I have the wide shot. I won't be doing the wide shot in that. Yeah, from what I can see, I don't think they have handbrakes. It's just that big wheel in the front and how you pedal it. So if you want to stop, you have to back pedal or whatever, or just slow it down with your feet. That's the brakes, as far as I can see. Now they do have 2 categories. The women race against the women. They don't race against the men, so they have their own category. And then there's everybody else. And there's people from all over the place. I mean, there's people from all over the United States, because this is like the biggest event of the high wheelers race. I call it something Spires. And it's the biggest one in the United States. For the most part, people come from all over the United States, all over for Europe, and they race in this. And I think last year somebody from overseas won the race. So anyway, it's a really, really cool. It's a very cool race. It's in Frederick, Maryland today, starting at 12 noon. I'm going to get there about 11:15 at the latest. Set up, claim my spot, and go from there. It's a really cool race. Let me see if I got any other interesting. Here's a couple guys. Let me just pull up another quick view of this. Let me see, where is it? Countdown. Here we go.
Mark Bachelor at number 2. He was placed number 2 overall in our race level. We have Bill Soloway. You see his bike, it says donate life. It's because he is a heart transplant recipient.
So I don't see any brakes. I don't see any brakes on any of the bikes. I think that you have to just brake with your feet on the big wheel. You got to slow it down physically. And I think that's it. And you got to jump up on the thing too, as well. They're a little tricky and they're a little bit dangerous on the dangerous side. Yeah, impossible to do a wheelie, that's for sure. The back wheel is just like almost like an afterthought. You're almost like riding a big unicycle. The back wheel just gives you a little more balance and stuff, a little bit more stability. So anyway, that is, let me get some of these good old thumbs up. Thank you very much. That is what I'm going to be doing today, filming that. With I have a tripod, I have my gimbal, but I probably won't need the gimbal. I lock the gimbal off so it's like hard. It's not does anything, but if I want to take it off and interview somebody, I can. And I'll be up there in Frederick, Maryland in a couple hours. We'll be doing it. So that's pretty cool. I enjoy that's my favorite events of the year, local events of the year that I film. So I figured out how much it costs for Final Cut Pro based on the fact that I bought it June the 21st, 2011, and we passed the birthday, the 14th birthday, this past June, and it cost me $1.78 per month so far. And a little less than that because I did use some iTunes. I had iTunes coupons in those days. Maybe got 10% off, something like that. Instead of paying $2.99, I paid $170 or something like that, or $270 or something like that. I got a little bit off, so it's actually less than that. But I figured I'd just figure it to the full price. And nowadays, I would just go take a class at a community college and get the educational bundle for $199. You get Final Cut Pro, you get Logic Pro, you get Compressor, you get Motion, and you get Main Stage, all 5 for $199. If I was doing it now, that's what I'd be doing. That is indeed what I'd be doing. So what's everybody else been up to? Like I said, I got so we lost power a couple weeks ago, and a big oak tree branch fell down on the power line, took the power out in the middle of the night. We were out for 4, 5, 6 hours. And I pulled out my trusty old Generac 5500 watt generator that I can plug into the entire house. I have a switch and everything to take it out of the main line. And I had a little bit of problem starting it. It's an old generator. A little bit of problem starting it. So that concerned me. I got it started. I emptied the fuel tank out. It was old fuel. Emptied the fuel tank out, put fresh fuel in it, got it running, and then it cleared itself out. But I said, I'm going to get a new generator. I don't want to be dealing with this. So I went online and watched all the reviews on YouTube, and I got this fantastic, it's 9,000 watts starting, 7250 running, battery powered. It's electric start, and it runs on 3 different kinds of fuel: natural gas, propane from your barbecue, and of course, regular gasoline. It runs on all 3 kinds of fuels. It's phenomenal. So anyway, I did a video last week where I assembled that for people that want to see how it's assembled. Let me just pull that up here. I'll pull that up, play a little bit of that for you. This is what I did. Let me just hold on here. Closing this down, opening this up, and we will show you a little bit of this, just a little bit. Starting 9,000 watts, running 7,200 watts. Good morning. We're going to unbox, assemble, and do a test run of my brand new Champion 9,000 watt peak, 7250 run watt inverter. And the first test run of my Champion generator. Let's get started. This thing is heavy. Now, most people, they cut the box the four corners, cutting it open. Let's see if I succeed. This is what we got. Remove brackets before adding gasoline. So that's up on my YouTube channel if you want to watch the whole thing. But yeah, that's what the last thing that I filmed. I got some other things I'm going to be doing this summer. I'm on the market for a new snowblower too. I own a 2,700 square foot all brick rancher, well, on an acre and a half of land. And there's a couple of things, there's like 3 or 4 major things that I have to deal with all the time. Number one, in the fall, I have leaves. 2.5 tons, metric tons of leaves that I take off my property every year. If it has a deep snow, I got to clear our driveway out or we're not going to go anywhere. So that's another concern. And then the third concern is electricity. If electricity goes out, we've lost it for 48 hours before. That's when I got my first generator. But now I got this new generator. It's electric start. It runs on 3 different kinds of fuels. It's larger than my last generator. So what I do is I have a switch in my circuit breaker that disconnects me from the main line. So that goes on first. Then I start the generator up, plug it into my house, and it basically powers the entire house. All the lights, keeps the refrigerator running. It will keep the hot water heater running, but I usually shut that off because I don't need that, because that's a big power draw. It runs all the lights, TVs, internet, refrigerator. Those are the main things. Coffee maker, coffee grinder. Those are the main things. That this new generator is going to be a load off my mind. One of the things I don't have to worry about. Last year, I got the biggest leaf blower. The biggest leaf blower that was on that I could find on the reviews. That made leaf blowing a lot easier, leaf cleanup a lot easier. This year I got the generator, and I'm looking for a new snowblower. I know the brand that I'm going to get. I'm going to get a 28-inch SHO super high output snowblower. I have an older one that I'll sell that one, and I got the old generator. I'll sell that one. You're absolutely correct, Eric. Sure sign is no Final Cut Pro news. Richard breaks out the generator video. Well, I edited that in Final Cut Pro, of course. The fast sequence was with the DJI Action 5 camera is a superb camera. I cannot wait until the Action 6 comes out, which should be sometime this July. I'm looking for the Action 6 Pro camera and the DJI Mic 3, whatever that's going to be. I'm looking for those 2 things, and I'll probably upgrade both of those. Now, I did a video a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, comparing the DJI Mic 2 with the Boya Mic 2. Okay, sonically, the Boya Mic 2 is really good, but I've had to send 2 of those back because the lights on the charging case don't come on. They stop coming on, even when it's fully charged overnight. No lights on the charging case. Is it charged? No idea. Is it just the lights? No idea. Is the batteries, everything charged, but it's not showing it? No idea. I sent 2 of them back, so I would not recommend those. They've got I've had 3 or 4 different sets, and they all had to go back. They sound good. They function good. The price was good. The price was down to $159 during the Amazon Prime days. But I'm not going to use them. Plus, I only needed more than 2 lapel mics during NAB when I interviewed 2 people. And then I had 1 mic, and I needed another mic for the 2 people. I don't do that normally. Now I'm just going to use one mic set. Right now it's my DJI Mic 2, and I have that really good 32-bit medium shotgun mic that records internally for a third mic if I need it. I never want a can't wait to become a won't wait. Yeah, I know what you mean. So as I was talking about, my property requires, there's some things that are fairly major. Clearing snow could be a big problem. We've had 2 30-inch snows back to back one time. If my neighbor didn't have a snowblower, we wouldn't have got out for a week or 2 weeks. There's no way we could shovel that much. I can't do it. The driveway's too long. So without a snowblower, I could be stuck, and I don't like that feeling. We're okay inside the house. I have a year's worth of firewood to keep the place heated, so that's not an issue. Now that I have this new generator, I have the old generator, I can keep electric on, I can keep lights on. It'll run for 14 hours on 1 tank of gas. On 4.7 gallons of gas, it'll run for 14 hours. It'll run for 12 hours on a 20-pound tank of propane. So it can run for a long time. It's not an issue. And then leaf. Those are the big things. Snow blowing, leaf cleanup, and make sure I have power. Because the main thing is the refrigerator, air conditioning, and coffee. I mean, coffee is the main thing. No ifs, ands, or buts. Coffee grinder, coffee, my kettle, stainless steel kettle, pour over kettle that I use. So what's going on with anybody else as far as Final Cut Pro? Logic had an update. A couple weeks ago. Bug fix, performance, blah, blah, blah. Final Cut Pro could have one at any time. I expect the big one in November at the Creative Summit, if there's going to be a Creative Summit. There's been no confirmation of that yet. I just think there's going to be a Creative Summit, and that typically will be the time that the Final Cut Pro team introduces the new version of Final Cut Pro. 11.2. Unless we get 11.2 between now and then, I'm going to presume we get 11.2 at the Creative Summit. That'll be the big one. Could we get another update to Final Cut Pro between now and the Creative Summit? Yes, we could. Absolutely could. Let's take a peek at the backyard a second. Good old backyard. Not much happening back there. That's the garden. Everything is very green. We've had a lot of rain over this spring, so everything's got plenty of water. We were in a drought for a while. I don't think we are anymore. It's a little bit windy, overcast today. As far as Final Cut Pro news, let me think. There's been a couple of tutorials. I don't have them listed. I didn't grab them this week. But I think there's been a couple of tutorials out. You can look on YouTube or on X, the X platform. And since we are in the dog days of summer, Saturday the 12th, I had a natural gas leak at my home. Fault was in the gas company's section of the pipe. Well, that's good. I don't want natural gas in my house. I have the ability to get gas. They've had too many house explosions in Maryland, Baltimore, Montgomery County, where the house just completely blows up from natural gas leaks. I don't want and I don't have natural gas in my house. What I have is propane tanks for the barbecue. I have those. They're outside of the house. They're stored outside. But if I need one of those to run this generator on, I can use gas or propane. It's not a problem. We have like 3 tanks for our barbecue that we used to use. We don't use it that much anymore. So we're transitioning the tanks over to generator use, and it's fantastic. It's electric start. It's got a battery. You just press the button, boom, it starts right up. Of course, it's brand new, and it's 3-year warranty on a Champion. But so that takes care of my electric issue. And this is an all brick house. So it's built in the 1960s, 62, I think. So it's all brick. It's not just a facade. It's actually structurally cinder block and brick. So that's phenomenal. It's a very, very well built house. So I'm covered as much as I can be for any kind of normal situation. So somebody else retired from Apple this last week. Who was it? Somebody. I forget who it was. Somebody in charge of AI retired from Apple. What are you looking for as far as AI in Final Cut Pro? Text-based editing, yes, please. Audio to subtitles, absolutely. Use AI for all that stuff. What else are you looking for AI to enhance your workflow with Final Cut Pro or Mac OS in general? I mean, I'm on Sequoia 15.4.1, I think. I haven't updated to 15.5. I think that's what I'm on. Is that what I'm on? Let me go check. Yeah, Sequoia 15.4.1. 15.4.1. Everything's running fine. I'm not going to update past that unless I have to. And when the new Mac OS comes out, I am going to, let me just pull this up. When the new Mac OS comes out, I am going to make a volume on my Mac Mini Pro SSD and go from there. Let me just check and make sure everything is sounding okay. Yes, it is. Let me also check and make sure. Yeah, I have a, here's our friend Luke Charbonneau from Canada, right? Luke, I met Luke and his son at the last Creator Summit. We had the Creator Summit is a phenomenal event for Final Cut Pro enthusiasts. It's hard unless you've been to one. It's not hard. I describe it every year. It's phenomenal. You get to meet the Final Cut Pro team twice. They do one presentation and then they have a Q&A at the end. And the last time it was very, very friendly and everybody was just having a good time laughing. You get to meet people that you see online the whole time. Final Cut Pro people that do tutorials and stuff. And you get to have dinner and lunch with everybody. Because if they do it back at the Juniper again, which is a great place, between the sessions, like at lunchtime, they have catered lunch there for everybody. So you don't have to go anywhere. You sit down, pick a table. There's plenty of places to sit. Invite somebody over, sit down and have lunch until the next session. I know, buddy, I would like to have generative fill for videos to make 4:3 videos 16:9 without cropping or distortion. Oh, that would be nice. That sounds like a good job for super AI, whatever the heck's coming out. I'm not sure why Apple's having such a hard time. Well, I know because of privacy. That's one of the things. I got to keep track of time because I do have to get out of here at a reasonable hour so I can get up to Frederick and park and all that stuff. And I might do a short live stream before the event starts or whatever. You just talking to the crowd. We'll see how that goes. So I did a live stream the last couple weeks at the Humane Society of Carroll County Wolfstock. And I used Facebook Live because that's mostly Facebook is the local community groups. And I had my my DJI Mic 2 plugged in for audio with mic on me, and it didn't work. It did not work with Facebook Live. What the heck? What the heck? It was just like ridiculous. It doesn't work. So I did a bunch of tests. The DJI Mic 2, in my case, when you physically plug in the receiver to the phone, Facebook Live does not recognize that audio. Now, it recognizes the Boya Mic 2. It recognizes the DJI mic if it's connected via Bluetooth, but it does not recognize it if it's plugged in with the receiver. No idea why. So that was a pain. It's one of the things that I've found out recently. I did a video on it. I said, I got to test and see what's going on here. So when I do a longer video, like the tutorial video for the generator, and if I have long sections or longer sections than I really want to keep in the video, but I don't want to make a jump cut there, one of the things is that I have a keyboard shortcut for making a speed change. Final Cut Pro has this great thing where you click on it and you can make a speed change without cutting the video. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a section, speed change the beginning, and speed change the end of the section, like if it's a longer section, and just speed it up to 200 to 400% rather than making a jump cut. So it just speeds through the section and then goes to the section that I want. And I really like that. I use that all the time. The title, Final Cut Pro is going subscription. No. Sorry for that. What that was is how much that I paid for Final Cut Pro over the months, based on the fact that I bought it for, let's just say, $299 in 2011. If you divide the years up, the months up, into $299, it comes out to $1.87 per month is what I paid for it. That's what that is. I think I did the math right. Is that what it was? Yeah. Because 14 years times 12 months divided by $299, something like that. So no, it's not going subscription. Better if I could also analyze the video to find pans that would be used to fill the pillar box. That's a good point. Please like and subscribe. That gets a thumbs up, absolutely, and it gets this. Like and subscribe. Pass the word around, everybody. We're getting subscriptions. We're slowly building. This is not my full-time job. I'm okay financially. I do enough. I do side work and other things, and I'm fine. AI requests. Edit using text transcripts, auto retime music to fit edits. Absolutely. Apply color grading directly at browser level. Yeah, that's a good point. It's weird because there's some things you can do to the browser clips and some things that you can't do. And can I do that in the browser? I don't know. So I click on a clip and I go to click on a clip over here on this side of the screen. Then go all the way over to the inspector to the other side of the screen to see if I can do something to it. I wish there was a HUD or a drop-down menu at the browser so I could right-click at the browser and choose from a list of things that I might be able to do rather than going all the way over to my 34-inch screen to the inspector to do something and then all the way back to the browser and all the way back to... I wear a path in my screen with my mouse. So either a drop-down menu in the browser where you can select some common things, whatever, just audio, or a floating HUD window like Motion has, where you could launch the floating HUD that was actually the inspector, bring it over where the browser window is and select things rather than all the way back and forth. Final Cut Pro is very stubborn that way, that they're very rigid with their screen layouts. That the idea of the inspector has to stay over here In this day and age, with these new M4 Mac Mini Pros and MacBook Pros, is just nonsense. Give us a floating HUD, an inspector HUD, or a drop-down menu with the common things in the inspector when I click on a clip in the browser so I don't got to go back and forth. One of the many things. Yes, better context-sensitive right-click menus. Yeah, inspector items in the browser. That would be great. That would be fantastic. Absolutely. It's on my list. It is on my list. So this is summer. Typically, they don't do anything in July. They could. Here's the thing. They gave us 11.1.1. .1 is a bug fix. They could come out with 11.1.2 as another bug fix, or they can make 11.1.2 a bug fix and a feature or two, a couple of features. They could do that. Personally, Richard, if Final Cut Pro goes subscription with a reasonable amount, I'd be okay with it because that means it'll do some crazy work on adding more usable features to Final Cut Pro. That's just your opinion, of course, but you haven't seen that. You haven't seen that with the subscription for the iPad. Final Cut Pro for the Final Cut for the iPad. You haven't seen an explosion of features with the subscription model. So there's no reason to think that they would do with the subscription model of Final Cut Pro. I don't think we're ever going to have a subscription to Final Cut Pro. I don't mind, let's say Final Cut Pro 12. They announce a year in advance, hey, Final Cut Pro 12 is going to be an upgrade cost, a one-time fee for those of you who are already in Final Cut Pro. No problem whatsoever with that. Or let us have it. You can have a subscription and a perpetual license. Give us a choice. These companies that don't listen to their customers, like Adobe, no, we hear that you wanted perpetual license, then you would pay for it. We're not giving you that choice. We don't care about those customers. All we care about is this. We got to make money. We're not going to care about the customers that want a perpetual license. That is the biggest bunch of hooey I've ever seen. That's why it won't support Adobe for that. You're right about Final Cut Pro on iPad. I agree. So just because it's subscription doesn't mean there's going to be an onslaught of features. There's no evidence of that. Plus, I think they don't update Final Cut Pro as often as we would like. They've told us the last two Creative Summits that they know Final Cut Pro the best. They're not being belligerent. They're telling you what's going on. They know Final Cut Pro the best, and they're going to have to continue to update it based on their knowledge, inside knowledge, and their timeline. So I don't think they hold features back for the most part. They might once in a while. Who the heck knows? Well, you can ask them. You can ask them. If we do the Creative Summit, you can ask them. But here's the thing about the iPad version. $4.99 a month is completely reasonable. It looks to be a fantastic little application. But here's the problem with that. I think LumaFusion is equal to, if not better than Final Cut on the iPad. LumaFusion is normally $29, one-time fee. There's been no fee beyond that other than if they develop an add-on pack. They developed the Final Cut Pro Export XML. They developed a couple other add-on packs that you can buy for a one-time fee. They are not going subscription. Here's the killer. So Final Cut on iPad is $4.99 a month. Completely reasonable. That is an exceptionally reasonable price. Apple makes it super easy to subscribe and unsubscribe on an iPhone. Just go to your iCloud account, go to subscriptions, unsubscribe, resubscribe. So you can get the subscription to Final Cut on the iPad, subscribe to it for a month, unsubscribe for 2 or 3 months, go back to it for a month later. $4.99, no problem with that whatsoever. Here's the problem. LumaFusion, which is equal to, if not better than Final Cut on the iPad. You can run it on your phone. You can run it on the iPad. You can run it on Android. You can run it on Chromebooks. And you can run it on your Mac. The same app. You can run it in 5 different places for $29.99. They often have, twice a year typically, they have a sale for $19.99. Usually Black Friday, usually around NAB. I think it was last NAB, they lowered the price to $9.99 for LumaFusion for like a week. $9.99 is 2 months renting Final Cut on the iPad. $9.99 is a perpetual license. So it goes on sale usually twice a year. Black Friday goes down to $19.99. Sometime around NAB, typically it'll be $19.99. But this year it went down to $9.99 for like a week. So it's an incredible, incredible application. Some of the best developers, very friendly, great community, highly recommended if you want to edit on the iPad. I like editing on my MacBook Pro, my Mac Mini Pro. I like it a lot. So that's what I'll be sticking to. That is what I'll be sticking to. Does anybody edit on the Final Cut on the iPad exclusively? Or mainly? I don't think, there's a few people maybe at the summit that I've met. Let's see what we have going in here. LumaFusion on iPad is great. And not only is the app great for a one-time price, the community is great. They do tutorials all the time. All the time. Final Cut, LumaFusion does their own tutorial. They have their own, other people do them. When was the last time you saw Apple do, or Final Cut Pro team do a tutorial Final Cut on the iPad? They don't do them. When was the last time you saw a Final Cut team do Final Cut tutorials for Final Cut on the Mac? They don't do them. They don't do them. DaVinci Resolve, dozens. Courses, video tutorials, lessons. LumaFusion, dozens and dozens and dozens of tutorials how to use LumaFusion on the iPad and on the iPhone, and how to do this and that. Final Cut Pro team, none. 0. You don't do any tutorials on how to use Final Cut on the iPad or Final Cut Pro on the Mac. Blackmagic leaves you in the dust. LumaFusion leaves you in the dust in that regards. So you certainly could step up and hire some people to do tutorials, Apple-branded tutorials. They did a promo last year, which was really shocking. They'd never done that before for Final Cut Pro. But they don't do a consistent series of tutorials for Final Cut. They let the community do it. LumaFusion doesn't. Blackmagic doesn't. They have tons of training. That's one place that I have to give the Final Cut Pro team a C as far as tutorials. Now, their book, the manual is really great. It's really, really good. No, the manual is fantastic. I'm talking about everybody's doing video tutorials now. Apple / the Final Cut Pro team / lets the community do tutorials for them. They feel for whatever reason they don't have to do them, or maybe they can't do them. I don't think so. But LumaFusion and Blackmagic are far, far better with doing video tutorials for their products. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, what else do we got? I'd like to see an update to Final Cut this summer. That would be phenomenal. Would like a full audio post feature, be it inside Final Cut or Logic or a new Soundtrack Pro. I'm editing and mixing my second feature in about a month. Would like to stay all Apple. So yeah, so there's a couple of things. Number one is Logic is a music creation app. It is not a post-production app. I use it for post-production sometimes. I'm very familiar with it, but it's not easy going back and forth between Final Cut. Resolve has the best. You edit in Resolve, open up the Fairlight page, all your mixers there, all your plugins are there, and anything you do in the Fairlight page is reflected back in the main timeline. I don't know how they do it. Phenomenal. And I had an interview with Grant Petty 2 years ago at NEB, and I didn't know this. He said that Fairlight was Windows originally, and they had to port it over to the Mac, which must have been a challenge, porting it over to the Mac. So that's another thing. I would like to have better audio. I expect better audio in Final Cut. Listen, I can tell you some things about Final Cut Pro that I personally know. I can't tell you my resources, but I know these things. I knew there's a scrolling timeline. For years and years, I knew there was a scrolling timeline. We finally got it. Now I'm telling you, there is a mixing board inside of Final Cut Pro. There is a roles-based mixer in Final Cut Pro. When they will release it, maybe 2025 with Final Cut Pro 11.2. I don't know, but I know there's dependable sources. There is a roles-based mixer inside of Final Cut. They just haven't released it yet for whatever reason. Maybe it's because Final Cut Pro is too basic now and there aren't any new features to make new tutorials. Unless they add a lot of features, they'll probably do a tutorial, but they haven't done that. They've never done tutorials. I can't remember maybe the classic version of Final Cut. The Final Cut Pro team has never, there's no place on the Apple website where you can get 20 or 30 or 40 tutorials that they produced for Final Cut Pro. You can for LumaFusion, and you can for DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve has video tutorials, hour and a half long through different sections of it. I can't think of any time that Final Cut Pro has ever done its own tutorials. Maybe back in the classic days, they rely on third parties. They don't do it themselves the way LumaFusion and Blackmagic do. They do it in-house. They do their own tutorials. For whatever reason, Apple, the Final Cut Pro team, they don't do any tutorials. Maybe I can't think of one or two, but they, generally speaking, don't do it. Better to use Ripple Training or Larry Jordan for training, cheap and thorough. Both of those are excellent sources. But I'm saying Ripple also does them for DaVinci Resolve.
Here's what I found.
Siri's talking to me. Siri, I'm not talking to you. So Ripple also does them for DaVinci Resolve. I bet you Larry does too. So I'm talking about the company that makes the software doing tutorials, and they don't do it. They just don't do it. So that's, like I said, their video tutorial training needs a lot of improvement. So their manual is fantastic. It has a lot of information. It's searchable. It's free. It's really, really good. So I'm not talking about the manual. The manual is great. And you can get it for free, and it's a PDF, or you can get it for free in the Apple bookstore, whatever you'd like. But video tutorials, it's lacking. Ripple Training, Larry Jordan, both of them are excellent places. And there's other people too. I do some tutorials. My highest Final Cut Pro tutorial has like 32,000 views on YouTube. I have some in the 30s, lots in the 20s, and the 10,000 views of tutorials. But I don't do the generic tutorial. When Final Cut Pro first comes out, there'll be 10 people that do the same tutorial. Oh, this is how you do this. 10 people will do the same tutorial. And then the next feature, 10 people will do that tutorial. And then the next people, 10. I don't usually pick on those subjects. I like picking on subjects that are more esoteric, that most people haven't done, or if they miss a key feature. If they miss a key feature, I think, then I'll do a tutorial on explaining that key feature. If I see a question over and over and over again in the Final Cut Pro forums, why does this keep happening? And I keep seeing it over and over and over and over again. I'll do a quick tutorial on that so I can point to it, rather than answering the question online all the time. So, but when Final Cut Pro first releases, there's 10 people that'll do the same tutorial. I mean, it's just covering the same subject matter, so you can take your pick which ones you like. Our friend Eric says the new magnetic mask is as good as any masking tool out there, in my opinion. Absolutely. When I first heard about that, I said, well, that's interesting, but I started using it. I said, it's really good, especially the new version in 11.1. Was it improved with better machine learning? So it's even better than it used to be. So 11.2, what are we going to get? I have no idea. I'd like to see text-based editing. I'd like to see transcribed to subtitles or titles. I'd like to see a role space mixer. I'd like to see a notes window in Final Cut Pro the way Logic has it. Logic has two different notes where you can type in notes. You can type in a script and read from it. They have one per project and one per line, one per track. Two different notes. So in Final Cut, if they had a general notes tab where you can pull in a text file and edit it and whatever, that would be phenomenal. I'd like to see that. Other than that, there's 98 things I'd like to see, 99 things. Expand a compound clip in the timeline. Instead of jumping to another timeline, it has no relationship to the main timeline. As a matter of fact, am I imagining this? I've been working with multicams recently, and it used to be when you double-clicked on a multicam in the timeline, it would take you to that exact same spot and open the multicam clip, but you'd be at the exact same spot when you double-clicked. I don't think that's working anymore. Now when I double-click on a multicam clip, instead of being where the playhead is, it goes some random place at the beginning of the multicam clip. What are you doing? Am I mistaken, or is it only me that's happening to? When I double click on a multicam clip, I want to open the multicam clip exactly where the playhead is, not some random place on the, and I have to go find it. It seems like that's what's been happening. Every time I do it, I'm never at the right place. It seems like Apple barely cares about their creative software these days. They're really more of a hardware company. Very sad for us. I don't agree with that. That was true in 7, not so much now. So, no, they absolutely, the Final Cut Pro team absolutely cares about us. No ifs, ands, or buts. I've talked to them every Creative Summit. I know that they care. But sometimes their hands are tied by Apple corporate as to what they can do. And for example, they used to be at NAB. They were at NAB 2017 and 2018. They did a presentation for the general public. The Final Cut Pro team did. And they haven't done that since they were there in 2019 on the Faster Together stage. 2020 was a bust because of COVID. 2021, they didn't do it in 2022. They didn't do it in 2023, 2024, or 2025. Final Cut Pro is nowhere to be seen at NAB. No presence. They couldn't send some of the team there to do a presentation with FMC like they did in 2017 and 2018. For whatever reason, they haven't done that. Logic is my music writing and production app, and I've done audio post projects. It just needs specific features, and that's it. Fairlight only needs better third-party controller support. Very, very cool. Yeah, they could make Logic Pro more post-production friendly, but every time they talk about it, they talk about it as a music app, and I use it for editing my podcasts. If I have an hour and a half long video, I take it in DaVinci Resolve, transcribe it, cut it, I edit it with transcriptions into a basic rough cut edit, and then I take that into Logic Pro and fine tune it. They've always been a hardware company first. Well, the hardware doesn't work without the software. That's the only thing. And I realize that hardware is what they make the money of, absolutely, positively. But Final Cut Pro sells their hardware. Final Cut Pro doesn't stand alone without hardware. So you have to buy hardware in order to use Final Cut Pro. You have to buy their Mac or their iPad to run Logic Pro. You have to. So those two apps sell hardware. Whenever I update my hardware, main considerations are Final Cut Pro compatibility and plug-in compatibility and Logic Pro as well. We have a lot of people watching today. That's always a good sign. Let's see. I think there are 32 people are watching over on the X platform. Phenomenal. X platform is the most people, then YouTube, and then Facebook. Well, I'm sorry. Facebook usually is the largest, but I can't see the numbers. They don't have the numbers live in Facebook. I have to wait till the live stream is over, and then I can see it's always in the hundreds. It's always in the hundreds. So, very cool. Anything else you want to discuss before I get to my Frederick event? I have to leave here in a few minutes. Final Cut Pro, what do you think? They're on vacation for the summer? Last time I posted, they're on vacation. Maybe. I know they take vacation, July, August, but who knows? Billie Eilish, her brother Finnis, Ed Sheeran, and others use Logic Pro. I've never heard of a major artist using Final Cut Pro. Final Cut, well, a lot of people use Final Cut Pro. Some of the YouTube people that get millions of views use Final Cut Pro. Is that major enough for you? Yeah, they use Final Cut Pro. I mean, if they do editing, a lot of people, a lot of the influencers that have millions and millions of subscribers and things on YouTube, yeah, they do Final Cut Pro. They use Final Cut Pro. There's been major Hollywood films with Final Cut Pro. Don't even, yeah. But anyway, Final Cut Pro team, we want to give you a round of applause for Logic and Final Cut Pro up to this point, but that doesn't mean we have to wait for 6 months or 5 months for another feature update. We really wish you would do it faster than that. We really wish you would. You know that. We've talked about it. You've talked about it at the Creative Summit. You understand that people want a faster release schedule. Very, very cool. So, subscribe over there to YouTube channel. Subscribe. Where is the subscription, you say? It is right here. YouTube.com @RichardTaylorTV. This is where you subscribe. And if you want to join our Facebook group, Facebook.com groups, Final Cut TV Radio. That's where I do most of my midweek things, links, and things I want to talk about. I do them over there. So let's let's say, hope there's going to be an update to Final Cut Pro between now and the Creative Summit. I expect we'll be hearing about the Creative Summit within the next few weeks, hopefully. We'll get some kind of information, at least the date. I hope we're back at the Juniper or a hotel like the Juniper that has the conference rooms right there in the hotel so we don't have to go anywhere. That would be phenomenal. When I find out about the Creative Summit and I'm allowed to talk about it, I'll come back on and let everybody know. If it's during a midweek, I'll come on in midweek. Also, we're going to have the Australian Final Cut Pros on, and I think we're going to do a Aussies in August. The Aussies in August will do a Final Cut TV live, and we got Chris Hawking, we got Ian Anderson, we got Lee Herbert, and now we have Philip Hodgetts, who's back in Australia. He moved back in Australia. He said he got twice the house for half the money or something, selling his house in California to the one he bought in Australia. So he's back there. So we'll have Chris Hawking, Ian Anderson, Lee Herbert, and Philip Hodgetts on Aussies in August for Final Cut TV. So stay tuned for that. The time differences is incredible, though. So I have to figure that out. I think it's like 14 hours difference one way or the other. It's not like 12 hours. It's 14 hours. 12 plus 2. All right, everyone. I am going to get out of here. I want to give everybody a round of applause for tuning in today. We're back here every Saturday. You have to between 9 and 12 on Saturdays. Final Cut TV live. And if there's anything that happens during the week, we're back here. We're back here as well, usually in the afternoon, because that's when like Final Cut will be updated. But I have to go to Frederick now. I might do a little live stream up there. We'll have to see. But in the meantime, let's hope that we get an update with a feature or two for Final Cut, not just a bug fix. And let's hope we hear something about the Creative Summit. Final Cut Pro team, we know you're on vacation. Good show. See you next week. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Kibby Collins, thumbs up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's appreciated. Hey, spread the word. Let people come over here and get my subscriptions up. We're headed towards 3,000 subscriptions, which is not that much compared to some people, but it is good. I do like having more subscriptions to have people watch. The X Platformer, thank you very much, is another thumbs up. You people are the best. You're absolutely the best. I enjoy coming on here so much and having our chats on Saturdays and sometimes during the week. You're the best. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Final Cut Pro team. Give us a feature update over the summer. Surprise us or two. Talk to everybody later. Frederick, here I come. It was another one. Got to get that one. And I'd like to give the thumbs up whenever I see him pop up there. Thank you very much, everyone. Talk to you later.